A court decision just rewrote the gun law map in ways most owners still have not noticed. Pause. And if you rely on old advice from the range, an old Facebook post, or something your buddy told you last year, you could be dangerously wrong today. Quick question before we continue. Are you subscribed? Because what I'm about to show you is not rumor, not politics, and not clickbait. These are real court moves that changed how gun laws work, and some of them can affect what you can buy, where you can carry, and what happens if you get stopped with the wrong setup in the wrong place. Hit that subscribe button right now because this channel is about keeping you informed before the mistake happens, not after. Here's what just happened. When people say, one new ruling changed 8 gun laws. That is not exactly true in the dramatic Hollywood sense. The truth is more important. The Supreme Court and federal appeals courts have been redrawing the rules piece by piece, and almost nobody noticed because the changes came through long opinions, narrow wording, and confusing court language instead of giant TV headlines. So let me break this down for you in plain English. First thing, the Supreme Court made it clear that some gun bans still stand, even after all the big Second Amendment talk from the last few years. In a case called United States v. Rahimi, the court said a person can be temporarily disarmed if a court has already found that person poses a real threat to someone's physical safety. In simple terms, if there is a qualifying domestic violence restraining order and a judge has made that danger finding, the gun ban can stay in place while that order lasts. Why does that matter to you? Because a lot of people thought recent gun cases meant almost every gun restriction was about to collapse. That is not what happened. Rahimi told lower courts, no, the government can still disarm dangerous people in some situations. That is a huge deal. It means the courts are not treating every restriction the same way. Some are falling, some are surviving. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The second change involves ghost gun kits. In Bondi v. Vanderstock, the Supreme Court said the federal government can regulate at least some gun parts kits when those kits are close enough to a working firearm and easy to finish. So if you are imagining a box of parts that can quickly become a gun with basic tools, the court said that box may be treated like a firearm under federal law. Here's the part nobody's talking about. The court did not say every single unfinished part is now a gun. It said some kits and some unfinished frames or receivers can be covered. That one word, some, matters a lot. But for regular people, the safe takeaway is simple. If a kit is easy to complete and looks like it was made to become a working gun fast, do not assume it lives in some magical legal gray zone anymore. Third, unfinished frames and receivers got pulled deeper into the same rule. Let me explain that in normal language. The frame or receiver is basically the core part the law treats as the firearm in many situations. For years, people argued over how unfinished that part could be before the law stopped caring. The court basically said, if it is close enough to finished and can be completed pretty easily, federal regulation can still apply. Imagine you order a build kit online because the ad makes it sound like harmless hobby gear. It shows up. It is almost done. You think, it's not a real gun yet, so the normal rules don't count. That assumption is exactly what can get someone in trouble now. Because if that item falls into the covered category, the legal system may treat it much more like a real firearm than you expected. And that leads to change number 4. If the product is covered, the seller may need to act like a real gun seller. That means licensing, record keeping, serial numbers, and background checks can come into play. So this is not just about what the object is, it is also about how it must be sold. Most people think the big danger is only carrying the wrong thing, but the truth is, buying the wrong thing the wrong way can create the problem before you ever load a magazine. That is why this matters. If you're finding this helpful, imagine what you'll learn in my next video about the exact phrases that can keep a simple gun stop from turning into a nightmare. Subscribe now so you don't miss it, because the people who stay ahead of these changes are the people who avoid ugly surprises later. Now let's talk about change number 5, because this one shocked a lot of people. Serial numbers still matter, and a lot. In United States v. Price, the Fourth Circuit upheld the federal ban on possessing a gun with an obliterated serial number. In plain English, if the serial number has been removed or messed with, the court said that law can still be enforced. Here's what most people get wrong. They hear ghost gun, an unfinished frame, and they think serial numbers do not matter anymore. Wrong. Different issue, different law, different court question. The legal fight over unfinished parts.